Call to order. Welcome to the Laramie City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, June 7th, 2025. And if you would like to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
With liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling.
Present.
Freed.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Behill. Absent. Richardson.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
That's 8 present and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next, we'll go to public comment on non-agenda items. If you have any public comment on non-agenda items, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll move on to consideration of changes in the agenda. Is there any public request to remove a consent agenda item and place it on the regular agenda? Seeing none, I move to the Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. I move that the agenda be set as submitted or changed. Or submitted, sorry.
Second.
I have the motion by Richardson, second by Shumway. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next, we'll go on to one of our favorite parts, which is proclamations. And tonight, it is my honor to read the proclamation of the Curmudgeon Society of 2025. In recognition of the High Plains Curmudgeon Society, whereas a group of 10 semi-retired gentlemen and Curmudgeon supporters, known as the High Plains Curmudgeon Society, approached the city of Laramie for the 16th consecutive year regarding community service projects and volunteering their skills, knowledge, and labor for the city of Laramie. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department developed a list of community service projects and needs that the staff would like to see complete, but due to time and budget constraints had not been completed. And whereas the High Plains Curmudgeon Society worked a minimum of 1 day each week from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. from January through the end of May for more than 1,260 hours of volunteer community service completing the projects. And whereas the community service projects completed by the High Plains Curmudgeon Society included outfitting the new Recreation Division trailer with storage shelves, a memorial bench at the Laramie Animal Shelter, a new shop bench at the Facilities Division building, new Parks Division barricades, building a new interpretive sign for the Jacoby Ridge Trail, repurposing the Laradise Lane and Adirondack chairs for use at the Undine pickleball courts, building new sturdy sauna benches for the Laramie Community Recreation Center, and refining refinishing some of the worn and damaged little free libraries. Now therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Laramie, do hereby proclaim our sincere thanks to members of the High Plains Curmudgeon Society, Glenn Phillips, Donald Gleaves, Lowell Bangerter, Jack Corson, John Duvall, Mark Greenbaum, Michael Markham, Tom Bailey, Walt Gasson, and Jim Brown for their community service for the City of Laramie, service partners, and our residents. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Laramie to be affixed this 17th day of June, 2025. And we happen to have a proclamation for each of you tonight. Assistant City Manager Fieser.
Honorable Mayor, thanks for the professional reading of that proclamation. You did a wonderful job. So for my 9 years that I've been with City Laramie, I've got to spend with these gentlemen in some fashion or form. And I tell you, what an amazing group of men to now call my friends after all this time, and to know how much they mean to me and how much they mean to this city and what they've actually accomplished. We got to have some meal with them tonight in honor and appreciation of what they've done for us. And tonight I got to hear stories about Mike Markham's pants being ruined with orange paint and having to be thrown away. Or I got to hear from Lowell Bangerter on what they call conferences about the sauna benches and how to build those correctly. He said they were an hour and a half a day, so I'm not sure if we were getting the full time or if they were sitting in the shop having donuts at that point, but we will see what's going on. But tonight, it's just a great pleasure to have these gentlemen here, a fantastic group of guys, and tonight they've selected Walt Gasson to give you some remarks about the curmudgeons.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Gasson.
Thank you very much. Thank you, councilors. I need to right up front say at the age of 70, almost 71, I'm kind of a Cub Scout curmudgeon. We have gentlemen behind me who've been doing this for decades, and they've given me leave, dangerous though it may be, to explain that just a little bit. Before I do, I'd like to be able to allow you to put a name to a face. Tonight we have with us our leader, Glenn Phillips, Lowell Bangerter, next to him, Mike Markham over here, Tom Bailey, John Duvall, Mark Greenbaum over here, and me. You know, if you talk to people, and I'm sure you do, obviously, and you mention the curmudgeons, they say, oh yeah, it's a group of old retired guys that do stuff with Parks and Rec, right? Yeah, that's right. And, you know, it's a funny thing. Retirement's a funny thing. It took me 4 tries. I retired in 2007, 2011, 2022, and 2023. I finally got it down, okay? I heard Stephen Covey once say that you should never retire to leisure. You should retire to meaning. And I think that's what this is about. When we have people who've been here, you know, we have retired educators, retired administrators, retired folks from all walks of life, all manner of jobs. But the one thing that unites them is that Laramie was a conscious choice for them. It wasn't an accident. It was a considered choice. it was that way in my case. As I say, I'm kind of a Cub Scout curmudgeon. I'm kind of a Cub Scout Laramie. I've only been here for 8 years. But there is something about this place. You know that, or you wouldn't be here. For us, I think to the person, I can safely say that we love this place. We love the people of this place. And we have found, through the wisdom of the people that came before us, a way to give back to this place and these people. So we're grateful. Speaking on behalf of the group, we're very grateful and we're honored by the proclamation. But indeed, I think it should be us who thank you and thank the people of our community, because by golly, this is our town and we love it. Thank you.
Picture time.
Just come up here and start lining up and we'll grab a picture.
Here we go, and I will give you the remaining ones for those that are here.
So,
Let's have, Mark, do you mind sliding right over here? Right over here. Down and
I can see it.
Perfect.
If
You can see Nancy, she can see you.
if you can see the camera, it can see you.
Okay, Matt, can I have you, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
I think we got everybody. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Curmudgeon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right. Moving right along, we will go to public hearing. We have 2 tonight. City Clerk, if you can read the first public hearing, please.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Council Chambers, and via Zoom meeting for the following purpose. Original ordinance number 2106, amending Chapter 5.09 of Laramie Municipal Code related to resort hotel liquor licenses. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting or via Zoom. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Is there any public comment on that public hearing? Seeing none, City Clerk, if you could read the second public hearing, please.
Notice is hereby given that on the 2nd of June, 2025, an application was received in the office of the city clerk for a new bar and grill liquor license, BG 19, for Wyoming Horse Racing LLC, doing business as Horse Palace, located at 416 South 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, for a license term of June 18th through May 7th, 2026. Public hearing to hear comments or protests relative to this license application will be held Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at Council Chambers, 406 Ivinson Avenue, or via Zoom, meeting ID 844-5766-0167, passcode 874361. Action on this application will be considered at the regular meeting of City Council on Tuesday, June 17, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in Council Chambers. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting.
Thank you, City Clerk. Are there any public comments on that public hearing? Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements.
Thank you, Mayor. We have two. And the first is from Parks, Rec, and Community Services.
Director Bork.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I have good news tonight. So the bad news to start, 2 weeks ago, as we were getting ready to open the outdoor swimming pool, we discovered a leak. And we were losing a fairly substantial amount of water. We were afraid it was going to prevent us from opening for this season. But we have been able to isolate where we believe the leak to be coming from, have filled the pool and it's holding water. And so we are opening tomorrow at noon. Yes, we are very excited. Does not mean that the leak has been fixed. So we still have a leak detection company scheduled to come to the area. They'll be in the area at the end of June. Hopefully diagnose where the leak is coming from, and I'm sure I'll be back before you and letting you know, giving you an update on that once we've determined how much is leaking, where it's leaking, and a little bit more. But for now, we are excited. The pool is up to its water level, the chemicals are balanced, it's heated, it is ready for the public, and we will open tomorrow at noon. Weather dependent. So wanted to let everybody know that. Thank you.
That is good news, especially to the families of Laramie.
Yes, thank you. And Mayor, second announcement from our Planning Division.
Yes, good evening, Mayor.
Mr. Gavin Doler.
Good evening. I only have good news, no bad news. But yes, we'll be in front of you later this evening asking for an appointee to our Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. This is related to that, but we have two kind of kickoff outreach efforts happening this weekend. The first one at the Farmers Market this Friday, 4 to 8, also the first Farmers Market, right? So that's exciting. And then the second is the Community Blue Devils performance, and I think everyone is aware of what that is at the stadium Sunday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. The actual performance, don't be late, is only 10 minutes, but you probably already know all this. I mean, I didn't. The first time I went, I missed it by about a minute. Like, we got there like 5 minutes late. It was already all over. They've created a little bit of a program around it now, so it is about 6 to 8, but we will be there, and we're even given the opportunity to address the crowd, which is pretty sizable at the stadium for that, about this effort. So just wanted to let you all know those two efforts.
Thank you very much. And I have just a little acknowledgement I'd like to do right now. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Randy Stegman, who's in the audience tonight, and he is about to be appointed in item 9K on the consent agenda to serve on the Traffic Safety Commission. So thank you, Mr. Stegman. I appreciate your coming tonight. And with that, I'll ask council, are there any disclosures or conflicts of interest at this time? Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a disclosure, and because I won't pass up an opportunity to congratulate a colleague on public record, but the reason Counselor Vigil is not with us tonight is because just hours ago, she became a first-time auntie. So I'd like to congratulate her sister-in-law Morella and her brother Marcus, her parents Rubel and Chris Vigil, and of course, Counselor Vigil for being a first-time auntie. What an exciting thing, so.
Thank you, Counselor Bowling. And next, I'll turn it over to Vice Mayor Richardson for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
I have a motion by Richardson, second by Newman. City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes, and congratulations, Mr. Stegman. You are now appointed. Next, we move on to the regular agenda. Item 11, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-52 designating A&B Bank, First Interstate Bank, First National Bank of Omaha, Pinnacle Bank, Wells Fargo, Wyoming Bank and Trust, Riverstone Bank, and U.S. Bank as depositories of public funds for fiscal year 2026 and authorize the clerk and mayor to sign.
Second.
That's a motion by O'Doherty, second by Freed. Good evening, Director Wade.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Before you tonight is a resolution authorizing our depositories of public funds for fiscal year 2026. This item is typically a consent agenda item. However, with a lot of new council members, I thought it might be instructive to just put it on the regular agenda so we could briefly talk about it. We are required to designate these depositories of public funds. They are required to maintain 100% collateral of any held city funds, so that's above and beyond the $250,000 FDIC insurance requirements that banks have to do anyway. We can only authorize depositories that are on the Wyoming State Treasurer's list, and we solicit not only depositories from our existing list, but maybe from other folks who, let's say Todd Bishop is arranging a financing for us. He's our municipal advisor. Let's say we get a bid from a bank that isn't on this list, so we can't award to them because we might have to hold those funds in escrow. We will reach out to those institutions and ask them to submit an application, or if they're not on the Wyoming State Treasurer's list, ask them to apply to that so that they can submit an application to us. So it's a little bit about the process, just so you know what you're approving this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions, councilors? Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director Wade. So does the city put funds in each of those banks, or I'm kind of confused?
Honorable Mayor, through you, we do not. These are just the banking institutions that we could have funds on deposit with.
Further questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 12, Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the City Council approve Resolution 2025-53, amending the appropriations for fiscal year 25-26 biennial budget, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Bowling, second by O'Doherty. Director Bork.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This resolution requesting appropriations for the fiscal year is my effort in, we're coming to the end of our fiscal year. And as I was paying attention to the budget, as you well know, we've got some significant changes that I've made to our Recreation Center fund. I'll talk about the first one, though, in our Recreation Division. That may be a little more confusing and needs some explanation. We have community partnerships with a lot of our youth sports and other sports organizations. And part of that partnership is we allow those groups to use our system to register. We do that at a small fee to cover administrative costs. But because right now that is listed as an expense in our budget, and we're bringing that money in that we pay them back out, it's really a pass-through. But we've had an inordinately large, I should say, definitely pre-COVID and plus levels of these community partnerships coming back. And so we just don't have enough money in our budget anticipated by the end of the fiscal year to cover those community partnerships. So we're requesting a $7,500 budget amendment for that to cover that. As I note in here, I am going to be working with Director Wade and Finance to figure out if there's a different way we can do that so that it's not as awkward as it is right now. But for right now, this is how we need to do that, and we are just asking for that amendment. The second one in the Recreation Center Fund, we have really two factors. First is the organization, the reorganization with pulling back our facilities division from the Recreation Center. That caused us to have to hire some additional staff, and we did some provision, not full-time, provisional staff, part-time staff. And in addition to that, we also had 2 retirements from longtime city employees that just retired last month and this past month, and we had to pay out their retirement. And so as I was looking, I got a little nervous that we would have enough money at the end, so we're requesting a $50,000 amendment for both of those reasons, making sure that we can continue to pay our staff through the end of the fiscal year. So that is my report. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Director. Questions, councilors? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to make a quick comment. I know that one example, the Laramie Jackalopes utilizes your software, and allowing some of these community partners to use that, I think, brings more of these activities in because there is this management system in place. So I very much appreciate that the city allows that partnership. I think it pays off hugely. I think the last track meet that they held were like 130 kids running. So that's that many kids who are engaged in our community with the help of these sorts of things. So appreciate it.
Further comment? Seeing none, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 13, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve the Laramie Rotary Club's Park Construction Contract Amendment Number 2, increasing the contracted amount not to exceed $2,512,626, and approve the associated budget amendment, Resolution 2025-54, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Lockhart, second by Richardson.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, tonight we're discussing the project that was about 8 years in the making, so we're getting to the end of it. We did run into a few staff moves over the construction project. The first one was we missed the provision of electrical through to the bathroom to generate electricity. That cost us a little bit over $57,000 between Rocky Mount Power and the contractor to do the work to do that. One of the other things that we missed, and it always gets me, is paying our own water and sewer tap fees. And that's just something, we do it, we all understand the accounting of it, and it's something that we had just missed. As you take away and you have those misses and you come into the project that has some other things that go wrong with it, whether it's the slide as designed not being able to be constructed as designed and have to make some amendments, and that costs you roughly about $12,000. Or when you look at the park and you didn't address one hillside that's covered with weeds and rocks and it just doesn't look right, and you pick those pieces up. And so with all that in total, we ended up missing this project by about $191,000. That does leave me a little bit of contingency to get through the end of the project, which currently right now all we're waiting on is to finish the restroom, and then we'll have the ribbon cutting and get this park open. With that being said, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fieser. Questions, councilors? Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Assistant City Manager. Just curious about the anonymous donation. Do we typically get anonymous donations?
Honorable Mayor, through you to Councilor Freed. This is, I think we've received anonymous donations before. This one was one that actually was donated. I know who the donation is from. The donor asked to remain anonymous, but it was at our our golden shovel opportunity, turn in the dirt, and I explained some of the things at a presentation that we were short, and that gentleman wanted to fund those pieces. So it was a great day.
Yeah, what an amazing thing. Thanks.
Indeed. Further questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Feehill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 14, Councilor Newman.
I move to approve the application for the new bar and grill license number BG19 for Wyoming Horse Racing LLC, doing business as Horse Palace, located at 416 South 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, for the licensing term of June 18, 2025 through May 7, 2026, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Newman, second by Richardson. City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, the application before you was received the beginning of June. It is for the location that used to be Sears most recently. They've purchased that building. This is Wyoming Horse Racing LLC, doing business as Horse Palace. Their location is 416 South 3rd Street. They are requesting a bar and grill liquor license. Their menu has been included in their application. They feel that they can meet that 60-40 entertainment and food sales versus alcohol sales. Alcohol cannot exceed 40% of their total sales. So they have requested that. If you have any questions, please let me know. I believe that we also have representatives here from Wyoming Horse Racing.
Do we?
Actually, no, I don't think that they were able to come. No, thank you.
Okay. Councilors, questions? Okay, seeing none, are there any public comments on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Feehill, absent. Richardson.
Aye.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 15, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Resolution 2025-55, appointing city council member, do I name a name? No. To the Comprehensive Plan 2025 Steering Committee and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
That motion made by Lockhart, second by Newman. Good evening, Mr. Gabatour.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of council. As you well know, we're starting the comprehensive plan update imminently this weekend with some public outreach. And then next week, many of you have already signed up for interviews to get to know our consultants better, to help them to get to know you and the city better. We have a great program for next week's visit already lined up. Just wanted to mention a couple things about this appointment to this steering committee. It is a commitment about once a month, a couple hours, as we work through every chapter and every section of the comp plan together. So it's going to be very broad and very interesting, in my opinion, to be part of this group. The call was posted publicly, so we did receive a lot of applications. We were able to whittle it down to about 18 from that group, but then we wanted to have appointments from the Environmental Advisory Committee, the Planning Commission, and then from this body as well. So far, we have a great group, members from the development community, business owners, artists, and other community organizations. So we have a well-rounded group. I understand there may be 2 appointees from this body, which is totally fine. That's actually the case with the Associated Students of the University. The Student Senate essentially is doing the same thing, just in case they can always have representation there. So I can answer any questions and welcome your appointment.
Thank you. So, council, do I have any nominations? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to nominate Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you.
Part of the, should I share any reason or just leave it at, as the planning division person, not planning division, planning person, it makes a lot of sense to me, so.
Okay. Councilor Newman?
I would nominate Councilor Bowling.
Any further nominations? Yes, Councilor
I'd
Lockhart?
like to nominate Mayor Cumby.
Okay. Councilor Lockhart, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Councilor Bowling, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Now, I just want to point out that any counselor, that these meetings are open, and that any of the counselors may attend these meetings, correct? If they wish? Though they wouldn't be able to participate, they can attend, or?
Honorable Mayor, the idea of the steering committee is just to have the members there. We'll have other opportunities, workshops, engagements where we can have an open house, essentially, for anyone to attend. But the idea is to have it very detailed and the agenda adhered to. And so it's ongoing. Like the people that come to the first day, we want them to be at all of them. And we're going to set some ground rules. Like can't miss more than 2. And we're really trying to create cohesion among this group. So to answer your question, I think we're looking to have just that group attend, the steering committee itself.
Thank you for clarifying that. Councilor Lockhart.
I'd like to propose an amendment to this.
Yes?
I move to amend Resolution 2025-55, Section 1 to read, hereby appoints 2 city council members to serve on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee with 1 vote to represent city council through the planning process.
Second.
I have a motion by Lockhart, a second by Bowling, to add a second member to that group, but with only 1 vote from council. And can we do a voice vote, or I need a roll call?
Can we have some discussion?
Oh, so do I have any discussion on that? Counselor Newman?
Can I make a comment?
Yes, you can do comment or question right now.
Realistically, we need to put names in this because it doesn't, we're not changing the rest of the section 1.
Okay.
We're just leaving it blank and blank. So we need to decide whether or not who the two are going to be, because I assume the mayor, you're okay with doing it too. You didn't voice an opinion.
I would be okay, but I'm thinking when we just want to make sure that it's covered, and that if one person doesn't have to be there, that it's not just a sub, that it's actually someone invested. And I'm going to withdraw my name because I think Councilor Bowling and Councilor Lockhart will be excellent representatives to the steering committee. Yes.
So Mayor, with that being said, if we could amend the amendment to add in Councilor Bowling and Councilor Lockhart.
Okay.
Do I need to read it that way?
Well, you just need,
You want to read it because it's my name's on there?
Could we request for information, I forget what but I would like to hear the whole thing instead of just saying the couple names. The amendment.
Councilor Newman.
I would like to make an amendment to the amendment, please.
Okay.
I move to amend Resolution 2025-55, Section 1, to read, hereby appoint 2 city councilor members, Councilor Bowling and Councilor Lockhart, to serve on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee with 1 vote to represent the city council through the planning process.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Newman, second by Richardson. We go to the vote? Okay. Is there any public comment on this amendment?
So Mayor, just to let the councilors know, we're now voting on the amendment to the amendment.
Right.
So adding the 2 names in, that's the portion we're voting on right now.
And then we vote on the amendment.
Right, correct.
Okay. Seeing no public comment, back to council. Any further comment? City Clerk, if you can call the vote, please.
Bowling?
Aye.
Freed?
Yes.
Lockhart?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Vigil absent. Richardson?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now we're back to the amendment. What is that?
It goes back to the public, comes back to us, then we vote again. So the amendment is what I read, the full amendment.
Okay. Is there any public comment on the amendment? Council, any comment? City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling?
Yes.
Freed?
Aye.
Lockhart?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Doherty?
Yes.
Shumway?
Yes.
Vigil absent. Richardson?
Yes.
Cumby?
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Now it's on the resolution.
Now we're back to the resolution.
As amended.
As amended. And
Public comment.
is there any questions, or is there any public comment on this resolution? Seeing none, back to council for comment. Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to extend my gratitude to Councilor Newman and to the city clerk for being diligent with Robert's Rules of Orders and walking us through that. Thank you.
I always appreciate the both of them. Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the nomination. I think Councilor Bowling will equal my sentiments that it's, we want to get our feet dirty, right? Get our hands dirty and get to learn as much as we can. And I do like the idea of 2 council members, just because life happens sometimes, and I do believe that if someone has a vested interest, not just a sub, it would help us much more.
than just having a sub once in a while.
I do too, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness on this. Counselor O'Doherty?
I guess this is a question. What if you don't agree on if there's a vote on something?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Arm wrestling.
Maybe
That's a good question.
if you have opposite views, maybe you could abstain and let the rest of the committee decide?
We're about to find out.
Honorable Mayor, if I may jump in. So the group will be, with the appointment of 2 additional members, will be up to 22. And we don't anticipate seeing eye to eye with that many people on really anything, right? It's really about getting the perspectives and the viewpoints from these organizations and catching things that you all may bring to the table that we wouldn't have thought of otherwise. As far as voting goes, there's not going to be a lot of votes as part of this appointment. It's more of a steering committee as what direction we're going on, say, the transportation aspect or the community economic development aspect. So I don't see any issues with, with conflicting ideas. That's what we want, right? That's what we want out of this process is different viewpoints.
Thank you, Philip. Further comment? All right. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 16, Counselor Newman.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-51, appointing 4 members of City Council to serve on the 2026 Wyoming Association of Municipalities, WAM, Summer Convention Planning Committee, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Newman, second from Richardson. So next nominations. Counselor Newman.
I would like to nominate Counselor Shumway.
Counselor Shumway, do you accept?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you. Further nominations. Counselor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I nominate Counselor Newman.
Counselor Newman, do you accept the nomination?
Do.
Vice Mayor.
I would nominate you, Mayor.
I accept.
I nominate the Vice Mayor, Richardson.
Vice Mayor, do you accept?
Yes.
Do I have any further nominations? Seeing none. Counselor Newman.
Can I make an amendment, please?
Yes, you may.
I move to amend Resolution 2025-56 by adding the following names: Counselor Shumway, Vice Mayor Cumby, Mayor Cumby, Vice Mayor Richardson, and myself, Counselor Newman.
Second.
I have a motion by Newman, second by Richardson. Yes.
Does that amendment include changing the word 3 members to?
I did that when I read it in, so we
Oh,
didn't.
I didn't
So we
catch
didn't
it.
have to
Thank
do
you.
this 4
Good job.
times.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this amendment? Seeing none. Back to council. Any comments? Seeing none. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you. That amendment passes. And now to the resolution
As amended.
as amended. Do you want to read that in?
Oh, it's already been.
No. Okay. So is there any public comment on the resolution? Seeing none, back to council for comment. Councilor Newman.
So the four of us did attend WAM this last week, and I can promise you we have notes and notes of what we learned, what the meetings were about. We all went to different ones, and you guys will all receive that. But I think between the four of us, we can see kind of what could be approved on and what maybe didn't work, and so we shouldn't try that. So I appreciate this group, and I appreciate the nominee. Thanks.
Further comment? Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. And thanks to you four for being diligent and representing the city of Laramie last week at WAM and taking good notes. I'm really excited to see what you have. Thanks.
And I would like to acknowledge that each council member will have a great opportunity to participate in many ways. So it should be a good year of working together. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That passes. Item 17, Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the council move to approve original ordinance number 2106 on second reading, amending Laramie Municipal Code Section 5.09, alcoholic beverages to include resort hotel liquor licenses.
Second.
Motion by Bowling, second by Newman. Welcome, City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The ordinance before you tonight is the second reading of an ordinance putting resort hotel liquor licenses into our code. During this year's legislative session, they passed Senate File 42, which put it into state statute. Some of the differences with the resort hotel liquor license versus resort liquor license, very similar in names, is the hotel is a smaller room number requirement as well as the valuation is a lower valuation, 5 million versus 10 million. So that is a pretty big difference there. So it does allow some of the smaller organizations to be able to apply for a liquor license. At first reading, you did pass a resolution to set the fee for the resort hotel liquor licenses at $2,000 per year. There was also a question brought up by Councilor Shumway about is there a limitation to the number of resort hotel liquor licenses that can be issued, as well as the resort liquor licenses. We reviewed that in state statute and included that in your cover sheet, and there is no population-based formula for the resort hotel and resort liquor licenses. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, City Clerk. Questions, councilors? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill, absent. Richardson.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. And now, are there any public comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none, I return to council. Councilors, is there any consideration of future council work session topics? Councilor Newman.
This is probably something I don't know the rules to, so Nancy, City Clerk, you're gonna have to help me. I would like to add my name to the second and third work sessions that are on here, and that would be due to conversations that happened at WAM.
Second.
I don't know how that would work, but they're already on the list. I just want to add my name to them.
To the second and
To the,
third.
yeah, so redevelopment and follow-up discussion on housing incentives.
Okay.
There aren't really any rules, Mayor, surrounding that, so we can just add that. That's fine.
Thank you. Any other suggestions? Oh, Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, the four that have been chosen to be the lead on preparing for the summer convention next year will be doing a lot of the initial work, but I think it's important for us to maybe have a chance, maybe a work session, because we got to bring everyone together so that we can hash through all of the best practices, best ideas, assignments and things like that for the entire council to move forward to have a great 2026 convention here in Laramie.
I agree, Councilor, and second that, and third that, and fourth that. So we have four that would like their name on that. Okay. Councilor Bowling.
I would ask other members of council that have been here a little longer, if this is redundant and has happened before, please let me know, because I can withdraw it. But just based on some conversations that were had at the DC fly-in last week, especially around energy tax credits, I'm personally interested in getting a presentation from Heirloom Technologies. They're doing a pretty cool groundbreaking next Wednesday out 3 miles north of Rock River on some pretty significant wind technology that's housed right here. I will forward this invite to council, but if they haven't yet done a work session with council, I think it would be a really engaging and interesting opportunity to learn about that startup.
So I'd like to know more.
Okay, so we have two councilors that would like that work session. City Manager, do you have any questions about that?
No, other than just to say, Mayor, we can certainly invite them. We cannot compel them, but I think they will be friendly to the invitation.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. All right. Councilor O'Doherty.
I move we adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Romanet 3.
Second.
Motion by O'Doherty, second by Richardson. Voice? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. We are adjourned.